What is up, my Beater Bros? Maine-iac here with Week 12 NFL Power Rankings, and we continue to be horribly wrong in many facets of the game. Now, in the actual game picks last week, we went 9-5, which is kind of where I thought I would go, considering I went 4-9 last week. I was like, I kind of want to go 9-5 at the worst, and I went 9-5. And a lot of these games, although they resulted in losses in close games and sometimes divisional blowouts, this is still the time of year where it's starting to level off. We only have a couple more bye weeks left for different teams, and then everyone's playing every week, because throwing in bye weeks makes it extremely difficult to necessarily bump a team up over someone who had a bye week or bump a team below, if you know what I mean. We start with number 32, the only clear and obvious answer to the worst team in the NFL right now, and that is the Cincinnati Bengals. Finley looks timid, struggles, but overall, if this team looks like the situation where if they nail this draft, if they nail what looks like to be the number one overall pick, or even if they sell the number one overall pick for a buttload of picks, say from a team like Miami, who seems to be falling down, if they nail this draft, this team looks like it could be competitive in what seemingly looks like a weak division minus the Baltimore Ravens. So, basically what I'm trying to say is Cincinnati, look forward to next year. And then you got Washington at 31, similar situation. They're finding out what they have in Dwayne Haskins and Darius Geis, which is very nice. Geis has an extreme injury history, so if you get these last few weeks to figure out what you have with him and get him healthy, you can figure out whether or not to draft a running back behind him. And to me, it just feels like the Redskins have been drafting a lot of running backs lately with Geis. I believe Matt Jones was another one. And there's a couple other names that are pretty forgettable because obviously they haven't had much success. Terry, great addition at wide receiver if they can get maybe a couple more pieces. If Haskins is the answer, this team looks to be solid going forward. I guess if you're looking for the aspect of what can the Redskins fans look forward to for the rest of this year, I would definitely say Terry is a highlight for this year, and also seeing how Haskins grows, because if Haskins can prove to be a viable starter by the end of the year, that is definitely going to change, I think, the free agency and draft strategy of the Redskins. And then you have the New York Giants, who I believe are 30th as well. None of these three teams moved, bottom three. Bye week, like I said before, that's why I opened with it. It's really hard to move these teams when they have bye weeks. Obviously, you have people coming back healthier. You have people getting rest, so we'll see how they come off the bye week. They have a tough game this week. I believe their game this week is against the Chicago Bears, so it's a good test for them. And then you have the Miami Dolphins dropping a spot to number 29 after a tough loss to the Buffalo Bills, who I obviously... They stayed competitive for the most part. Devontae Parker looks good. The defense looks solid. There's a lot of stars on that defense that I didn't think much of initially, and I will admit that. But they're really stepping up, like a Taco Charlton, who came from, I believe, Dallas, and I'm drawing a blank on his name right now, but the front seven basically is what I'm saying. Obviously, Howard coming back next year is going to be big, and they own 3 first-round draft picks, so this is going to be a huge draft for Miami. And you have the Jets at number 28 gaining a spot. They look to be more solid. Le'Veon Bell seems to be getting more of a rhythm. Robbie Anderson, getting Ryan Griffin, the tight end, involved, getting Jameson Crowder involved consistently. It looks like this offense may have found their identity, although the defense is a little bit of a concern. Jamal Adams definitely the bright spot, but the linebacking core without C.J. Mosley is a huge concern as well. This team, at this point, I would think it's very fair to say they're not in playoff contention, but I said a similar thing to the Colts last year when they were like 0-5, so by a miracle, this team could possibly make the playoffs. I just think it's like a less than a 1% chance right now. But they will be a tough opponent for the rest of the year. And then you have the Denver Broncos staying even at 27, even though they remained competitive against the Minnesota Vikings for damn near the whole game, and damn near won that game. because they were playing very well. This Broncos team is not the same Broncos team from like week 1 to week 5. This team is much more competitive. The quarterback is much more aggressive, I should say. Wide receivers are playing even. The wide receivers, even with Sutton kind of banged up, are playing with heart and tenacity. Lindsey and Freeman are playing really well out of the backfield. I believe his name is Janovich. The fullback is playing decent as well. The pass rush is looking a lot better. So this team going forward is another one of those teams tough out. Kind of a victim of their failures at the beginning of the season, but they are definitely worth watching if you can see them on TV. Then you got Jacksonville at number 26 dropping a spot. Nick Foles back in the starting lineup. The team doesn't look much better. And then you have Arizona dropping 2 spots. Tough loss to San Fran. Coaching doesn't look that good. The players are looking better, but the coaching does not look that good. Then you have Atlanta at number 24 gaining 2 spots. They're throwing together some victories, which is good. Julio Jones obviously looking good as always. But more importantly, the running back situation is a huge concern. Hill did not play well, and if he has to perform for Devontae again, I'm not looking forward to it. And you have Detroit at number 23, dropping 2 spots. Another tough loss for Detroit. Matt Stafford out for possibly 6 weeks. Huge concern there. Tampa Bay, although they lost, they performed well. Good receiver core. The running backs are looking better. Winston, a huge concern for him. The defense is looking decent, but not great. So, although they are a bad team with record-wise, they will compete usually every week, depending on how Winston plays. And Winston just hasn't really been that good. Then you got Chicago at number 21. The quarterback issue is huge. This defense is carrying this team. And like I said with the Giants, they got a huge matchup this week if they can win. Maybe they bounce back. Maybe they make a late push, but the NFC looks just too tough for them to make the playoffs. You got Cleveland at number 20, gaining 4 spots after a good win over Pittsburgh. Kind of a dirty win, but a good tainted one, I should say. But still a win nonetheless. Coming off a long week, it'll be interesting to see how they do. Chargers lost to the Chiefs and Rivers 4 interceptions. Number 19, tough. Rivers is the issue. Never thought I'd say that. Carolina dropping 3 spots at number 18. Not much else to say about that. Kyle Allen looks like Phillip Rivers. Then you get Tennessee coming off a bye week, number 17. It'll be interesting to see how they perform, see if the run game gets a little freshened up. And that defense, if it can get that extra oomph, their extra oomph in the boot, this team could possibly challenge for a wild card spot. I just don't think realistically they're there completely. Tannehill also, a bye week in this system could be extremely beneficial. And you got Indy at number 16 gaining 2 spots, and Pittsburgh at 15 dropping 2 spots. These teams are heading in opposite directions. Indy is getting healthy. Pittsburgh is getting more and more banged up. We all know about the whole fight thing with Pittsburgh, so I'm not going to really talk about that. Without Pouncey for a few weeks, it's going to hurt. Juju's banged up. Connor's banged up. Everybody's banged up. It's going to hurt. Indy, Mac broke a hand, but T.Y. Hilton's starting to get healthier. Brissett's back. So similar situations, just on the opposite ends. You have Buffalo at number 14, gaining 2 spots. They did beat Miami, so but Allen played consistently, possibly one of his best games as a pro. Philadelphia drops 3 spots after losing a tough game to New England. Injuries to, what was his name, Maddox? One of their DBs got hurt. I just hope he's okay. I haven't checked on it, so that's my liability right there. Then you got Oakland at number 12. Good win. Definitely one of those wild card teams, I think, in the AFC. They got the Rams gaining 3 spots to number 11. Good game, good win. Sean McVay needs to get that juice he had from last year. Definitely. Dallas is number 10, gaining a spot. They face New England this week, so the situation with them and Philly will be very interesting because I believe Philly is 5-5 currently, and the Dallas Cowboys are 6-4. So if Dallas could win and Philly loses, because Philly faces a tough team in Seattle, Dallas can blow that division wide open if Dallas can beat New England. And then you got Houston at number 9 dropping 2 spots. They looked fucking awful against Baltimore. Absolutely awful. And you got KC at number 8 getting a spot. 4 interceptions for that defense. That defense looked a lot better, but it did get gashed often, even though they won. Minnesota number 7 won against the Broncos, close game, but still victory. Run game looked good. Passing game looked better. Thielen's getting healthy, I should say. And that defense, got exploited by Denver. So they just got to put together consistent drives more often. And you got Green Bay and New Orleans at number 6 and 5 respectively. Green Bay coming off a bye week, so like I said, hard to move. New Orleans coming off a good win, but teams above them I think are just right now a little bit better or more better, depending on how you see it. And you got San Fran at number 4 dropping a spot, and Seattle at number 3 gaining a spot. This San Fran struggled against Arizona often. Seattle had a bye week. So, although Seattle had a bye week, I think San Fran struggles combined with Seattle recently beating them. I think edged them just a little bit over San Fran. Now, with these top 4 teams, I will specify this. They're definitely 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. These are possibly the 4 best teams in the NFL right now. And these are, right now, probably the likely NFC AFC championship games. Baltimore, New England, Seattle, San Fran. Speaking of that, we got Baltimore at number 2 and New England at number 1. Yes, Baltimore did beat New England, but look at last week to see why I still rank New England ahead. Isaiah Wynn's coming back. I think that's going to be a huge boost. Baltimore looked amazing against Houston, so yeah, I do think these 2 teams are the best 2 teams in the NFL right now. And they played each other and Baltimore won. Same thing with Seattle and San Fran. I think they're the best 2 teams in the AFC right now. They played together, and Seattle won. And I still ranked San Fran ahead last week, but San Fran struggled against Arizona, so I'm knocking them a little bit based on that. Anyway, guys, hope you have a good week. See you in the next one. Peace.